Dan, great to chat with you this morning. I'm excited to hear more about Concierge and how it all started. And so why don't we start there? What was the impetus for creating the Concierge?
Sure, and thank you everyone for joining. So this is yet another of our webinars, and yeah, happy to share with you guys what we're working on. So yeah, right. What is the concierge? So the vision for NYNJA has always been about how we help teams work better together, and one of the elements of a team is obviously the whoever is going to do these sort of admin tasks that aren't centrally focused to a specific skill set. So one of the things that we thought about was, well, could we not create what is effectively a cloud-based virtual assistant whose job would be to effectively help the organization, anybody within the organization, actually complete their tasks. Things that you really wouldn't want somebody with a high level skill set to be working on, anything on basic research or reformatting files, things like that. And I mean, a lot of companies are familiar with, especially startups, familiar with the ability to go to Upwork or Fiverr and actually hire a VA to reorganize your email or otherwise do those sort of time-consuming yet low-value tasks that you as a rising CEO or as a project manager or something like this shouldn't really be spending your time on. So what, as a short story long, what the concierge really is a digital virtual assistant, a cloud-based virtual assistant that is free, that if you're a NYNJA member, you can actually ask a question in chat and they deliver files to them and they will return those files to you, or ask them for some help with research and it will return that research to you. Effectively offloading tasks that you would otherwise have to spend money on as an entrepreneur to hire a full-time person. We're actually giving that to businesses for free.
Fantastic. So maybe you could give us some examples of some things that you could ask the concierge to do.
Sure. Okay. So if you're an entrepreneur, say you're in the tourism industry, you need to find partners. You could say, okay, well, who are the top 10, over the desk tourism agencies, in China, right? And then the concierge will then go out and do some cursory Google searches, probably more than that, and then deliver that list to you. You might even be a business person on a business trip and say, okay, well, what are the best hotels or the best flights to that particular destination? And the concierge can do that initial research for you. Of course, I would advise that anybody, go and do their final or actually booking. But I mean, that initial help, maybe they're going to find something because they do it all the time that you're not actually going to find on your own, right? And then other things like, could you reformat this say, okay, a classic example as a marketer, I mean, I'm sure is you'll get delivered a customer sheet, right? And you'll have their names in one column and then the emails in another. But no email client is actually going to accept one full name, especially not if you want to have a tag as first name and last name. So really what you need to do is separate that full name into first name and last name, and discard any middle names. Yeah. Right? So you can ask the concierge to do is to say, hey, could you please put all of the first names in one column and last names in another column? Not something you really want to be spending your time on, but something that the concierge is more than happy to help with. And it's probably going to save you, depending on the size of the list, minutes, hours, and then you're good to go and you can go on to any other task you've got going on. That's the general idea.
Yeah, because all of those minutes spent on those really, admin type tasks, they really add up. So if you can offer.
Right. I mean, in some studies estimate up to $40,000 a year in a business can be wasted just generally on a lot of these admin tasks that could otherwise be outsourced. And in this instance, they're actually free.
You did mention that it was a cloud-based service or AI-driven.
Well, okay. So the idea is that, yes, we as a business benefit from the fact that we are going to be collecting data. We're not going to be collecting any personal data. What we will be collecting is the interaction, right? So what that allows us to do is actually build an algorithm that will allow some of these tasks to be AI driven over time. But initially, you've actually got a real person talking to you. This is all a bunch of people behind the cloud that are actually talking to you in real time, going out, doing the research, coming back and talking to you again. So initially, right now, none of this is actually AI or bot based, right? That's actually antithetical to what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is to create a service that is much higher level than what currently exists. We're trying to give a personal touch to a software as a service product. This is people as a service. Yeah, I don't know of anything that exists like this at the moment.
So I assume that the idea then of trying to automate some of it is really so that you can scale it, right? I mean, because right now.
Yeah, that's right, and certainly over time, right? Because some of these tasks, take for example what we were just talking about, the move the names from one column to the other. Well, that you should be able to automate that, right? It's just that at the moment, how are you going to do that? More than likely, you're going to go to Google. You're going to see maybe like Excel format machine changer thingy dingy, and it's going to be like, oh yeah, just pay $9.99 for a subscription so that you can do this one thing. Whereas in our instance, yes, it will be chat based, but ultimately, you're going to get that job done. It's just going to recognize the context of everything that you've said before, right? And Google doesn't necessarily do that. Outside of, I would say, what Google does well contextually is out of your email, right? Which is a little bit invasive. Yeah. What this does is says, okay, well, every conversation that you ever had with the concierge is going to make the concierge smarter for you. Not for us, but for you. We're not trying to benefit in any way outside of the fact that we're actually trying to make your life better. So the only data we're using is actually obviously the collated data, in the sense that I want to understand the things that all of our users have asked the concierge to do, and then ultimately move that on to an AI-driven process wherein everyone benefits from that. But in terms of the personal data that we collect, all we're taking is the interactions and the context of those interactions between you and the concierge, such that I'm able to provide a better service.
And because none of those things are kept, right? So if you sent a file to the concierge, they don't keep it. Right. What they sent.
You'll be. Yeah, so the user will be able to find those files later on, and this is a function of NYNJA, right? We try to make it easy for you to. So all you need to do is go into the right-hand panel of your desktop and click links, and you'll see all of the links that you've shared, or files, and you'll see all of the files that you shared, just to make it easier to find these things. But we are not collecting these files in themselves in order to then use them later. It's more of a we're trying to index the kinds of tasks that are being done and better allow an algorithm to actually complete those tasks in lieu of a human actor, right? Because that saves us time, but it also saves you time, because I can, as fast as a human can turn around that, say, column task, well, an algorithm is going to do that in 5 seconds, right? So we're going to basically index, okay, well, what are the most requested tasks? And then how can we actually automate those? That will be separate. We don't actually need the files of the links or the personal information in order to connect that loop, right? So it actually makes it very easy for us to basically just understand what's in most demand. But as well as, the interactions, the way that people talk, those things are also valuable.
So does that mean that the concierge service is available 24/7?
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even when you're sleeping, the concierge is still working. Well, you have to consider for a moment, though, that if you hire somebody full time, in your office, Well, they work when you work, but the concierge actually works whenever you like. So take for, instance, if you were to schedule a message to ask the concierge to do something, which is functional in NYNJA, you could have them do something, commit an action while you're sleeping, and they'll be happy to do it. There'll be no difference for them, and ensuring that, of course, you've got context around the action, ensuring that they know what to do. But that message will go out of your NYNJA account to the concierge account, and the concierge will do it, and then voila, it's done. Right? It's sort of like magic. So that's, again, this is something that it's a benefit of the fact that it's cloud-based. It's a benefit of the fact that it's, obviously free is nice, but there's more to it than that. It's just more powerful than what you would otherwise get from somebody that works 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and I think it's nice for users to know that there's someone there. Essentially, if they're stuck on something, they can reach out to the concierge, as well as there are community managers in some of the groups within the app. On the
yes,
platform.
of course, yeah, and those, of course, exist already. But also, the concierge is going to be able to see every conversation you've had up until that point, right? So they're going to have sort of a contextual relationship. Now, keep in mind, these are still people, right? So you may be dealing with one person at one time and another person at another time, but they're still going to be able to track the history of the conversation, actually see like, okay, well, what have you worked on before, and how does that relate to this current task? And unlike, say, a bot, drive some contextual meaning around that and potentially be more helpful.
Yeah, they'll already have the settings to know if there's a specific way you like, documents treated or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So you should also be nice and say please and thank you.
Oh yeah, I would highly advise, being very polite. It's not a bot, they would appreciate some, and they're all very, very polite. So I would highly recommend.
Yes. Yeah, they've been great. You've been great.
To the people that are trying to help you.
Thanks, Dan. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with concierge? Anything somebody you thought, oh, you should try it?
Well, that's it. I would say if you've got, well, first of all, if you want to start with a concierge, so you should go to NYNJA.io, download it, or otherwise get on, register on the web or desktop app, both available at NYNJA.io. So once you join NYNJA and you've registered, the concierge will actually add you automatically. All right, so you don't actually have to do anything. And then once you see that account there, you can then just talk to them if you're so inclined. But also, if you've got any ideas, please tell the concierge, hey, I've got an idea. Can you do this or can you do that? We'd love to hear more about that. And they'll forward it on to us, and we'll actually incorporate that into the system. But also, if you've got any day-to-day tasks that you're not a huge fan of doing, please, by all means, that's what it's there for. You use the concierge as exactly what it was intended for. Use it to improve your life and the lives of your colleagues, and go ahead and share the contact, and they'd be more than happy to help.
Great. Thanks, Dan. We're all going to be much more productive now.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.